Namaste, yogis. So I want to talk to you today about a common issue that I see with a lot of students, and I even have this common issue, which is having a little bit of neck pain. And it's very common to have this chronic neck pain in our society because we're constantly on our computers or we're driving and we're always sticking our neck like this, right? Just doing that does not feel good. So in our yoga practice, there's a lot of ways that we can help this, but there's also a lot of ways that we can add to the pain when we're not aware of what we're doing. So I want to take some time to talk with you guys about just some things to think about next time you're practicing to help keep your neck as an extension of your spine and not as some weird forward jutting extension of the spine. So you guys all know, I'm sure, that we've got these different curves in your spine because you have a spine, so you know how it curves, right? You can feel that your neck curves in a little bit, and then behind your ribs it curves out a little bit, and then when it gets to the low back, it's curving in a little bit, and then our tailbone comes back out, right? So there's these natural curves that are really nice for the body. What tends to happen is we tend to overarch the neck, right? So when I'm sitting here and I go like this, it's overarching my neck, and now all my little muscles have to cling to it. So lots of pain in the neck and shoulders. During your yoga practice, oftentimes you'll hear your teacher talk about keeping the spine long, lengthen the spine, right? And so I feel that often we're thinking about the spine as like from the tailbone to the top of the shoulders. And really, you've got to think about the entire neck through the crown of the head when we talk about extending the spine. So the head is very heavy, right? Weighs like 7 or 10 pounds. So whenever we're allowing the weight of the head to dictate where it's going, and we're not using really any strength to keep it up, you're causing a lot of excess tension in the neck. So let's take the postures just sort of broken down. So in our yoga practice, we've got seated postures, prone postures where you're kind of on your belly or on all fours, the standing postures, and then we can talk about when you're lying on the floor, doing like more supine postures, lying on your back. So anytime that the torso is vertical, the torso is upright, so I'm sitting or I'm standing, you want to make sure that the ears are actually over your shoulders. Now that sounds super simple, like, Christina, why would you even mention this in a YouTube video? But the reality is, when I look at my room of students, 9 times out of 10, their ears are not over their shoulders. They're somehow ahead of the shoulders. And when I put my hand on the nape of their neck and ask them to press into my hand, all of a sudden, the ears will go over the shoulders. So I encourage you, even now while you're sitting here watching this video, think about my hand, right? There's no time and space, so my hand is really on the back of your neck. And think about pressing into my hand and what that does, right? So you might notice that the chin goes down just slightly. Maybe you've got like an extra chin going on. It's okay. But this is what you want, this length. And as you press into the back, as you press into my hand or into your neck, you might even notice that the crown feels like it's lifting. So there's this teeny tilt and this lift. So again, getting used to aligning the neck. So anytime you're, again, torso vertical, this is the posture. When you switch to all fours, it could be the same, right? Where I'm letting my head hang down, or am I keeping that same integrity as I did when I was sitting? So as you take your yoga practice from seated to prone to standing, keeping that relentless integrity in the neck, that ears over shoulders motto, can really transform your practice and how the neck feels. Again, it's very heavy, so if we're not being mindful of the weight, then you're practicing for an hour and a half with an extra weight on your head, and that does not feel very good. In fact, you're adding tension rather than taking it away. So the other benefit of being so hyper aware of the placement of your ears, right, during your practice is like I mentioned before, once you start to notice it more and more on the mat, more and more during your yoga postures, you'll start to notice it when you're driving, when you're just sitting at your desk. And you'll notice how often you're causing unnecessary pain in the neck. The last thing I want to talk about is when you're lying on the floor. So notice where your chin is pointing. When you're sitting up, where's my chin pointing? If it's not slightly towards my chest, my neck is cricked, right? It's crunched. If I'm on the floor, lying down on the floor, it's the same thing. So if you were to lie on the floor right now and just kind of nestle in and get cozy, where does your chin naturally want to point? Most people, their chin wants to point up to the sky. And what's happening to the neck? It's crunching the neck, the vertebrae. So pressing into the back of the head, drawing the chin towards the chest, and again, finding that length where again, you're pressing the neck towards the floor. You can start to feel what it feels like to have length, to have the vertebrae stacking as they should, rather than distorted as we've placed them for many years, right? So just a little recap in your practice. It's all about holding our head high, holding it with integrity rather than letting it slump, right? So ears over the shoulders, pressing into the nape of the neck, whether you're standing, prone, or lying on the floor. Where is my chin pointing? A little towards the chest will keep the neck nice and long, a nice healthy neck for longevity in our practice. Namaste.